American Airlines is going to board flights up to 10 minutes earlier to speed up the process. What does this mean? Will they be able to compete more? Will this be good for topics like fleet utilization? Join me as we talk about all these topics and more here with American Airlines. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. It's going to be pretty fascinating, everybody, to see what's going on with American Airlines in their boarding process. I hope all of you are excited for today's video. We have an awesome article here from Simple Flying to evaluate, so I hope all of you are excited for this. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. American Airlines is going to board flights up to 5 minutes earlier. It's really 10 minutes, and I'll explain why. And this is going to speed up the process, and very much appreciate Simple Flying for making these articles here, as they're always really good and provide a nice, consolidated yet effective presentation. So with that being said, let's not waste any further time and go ahead and get started, everybody. American Airlines believes that starting boarding 5 minutes earlier will relieve congestion around the gate and the aero bridge and make the process more efficient than it is today. Starting May 1st, the airline will add 5 minutes to its overall boarding time for all of its flights. Will the extra 5 minutes fix this problem? On Friday, American Airlines announced that it is adding an additional 5 minutes to its time allocated for boarding on all of its flights. According to USA Today, the US airline is tweaking its boarding process to make boarding the aircraft more efficient and also reduce the likelihood of passengers having to gate check their carry-on bags, which that's a huge factor as well. It certainly takes quite a bit of time, especially when you're towards the end of boarding and really trying to get an on-time departure there for the carry-on bags, especially during peak times. So that's definitely a really important consideration to have. Here's a really nice shot of the new modular development for Terminal C there at DFW, and you can see the really cool architecture to go along with that. So this is a cool shot, and it's pretty important to note what's going on with this. Once the change is implemented, the boarding will commence 35 minutes before departures on flights operated by the Airbus A319 and A320 aircraft, and 40 minutes before departure operated by its Boeing 737, Airbus A321, and all wide-body aircraft in American's fleet. Now, I could be wrong, but I think the 737 was also 30 minutes prior, but I think this A321 was 35 minutes prior. At least that's the experience I ran into for quite a bit of time, but nevertheless, these are now the official numbers. American Airlines spokesperson Rachel Warner said that the extra time will deliver a smoother boarding process for customers by allowing for pauses between boarding groups, relieving congestion on the jet bridge, and allowing customers to stow their bags and settle before departure. Warren added, quote, "In addition to American's gate agents and flight attendants will have more time to complete their pre-departure work and deliver personalized service to our customers. Flight attendants and gate agents will have more time to monitor and confirm when overhead bins are full, helping to reduce the number of involuntary gate-checked bags when space is still available," end quote. So definitely really important to recognize the bags and what goes with that with this process. And there's a really nice looking 777 landing on runway 12 at Miami. The airline is not only going to add an extra 5 minutes to extend the available time, as it said it will use that time to allow for pauses between boarding groups that will relieve congestion on the jet bridge. American Airlines American added that the additional 5 minutes will give customers more time to stow their bags and to get settled, although without more bin space or stricter carry-on rules, it is hard to see how adding 5 minutes will fix that problem. And this is a great counteract here and really worth noting. Most of the problems that come from this are overstuffed bags or, bigger bags and so forth, and also just in general, it's really tough to get the bag up there in an efficient manner to the overhead bin. So that's certainly worth noting. So yeah, I also think that it's really good that they're adding this extra time for the jet bridge, as I've certainly seen these jet bridges at the hubs get congested very fast. There's been times where it hasn't quite been out to halfway down the jet bridge, but it's certainly been quite a ways down there from where the jet bridge goes onto its new pillar after the little piece, the stub piece or whatever it's called, that it normally sits on. With this being said though, technology that put people in their place. In November, American announced that it had successfully trialed technology to ensure all customers benefit from boarding in their assigned group. Human nature being what it is, that hardly ever happens at any airport in the world. So the provision of technology to support airline staff and adding more visibility to the process is welcomed. If a customer tries to board before their allocated group is called, the new software will not accept the boarding pass and will instead make an audible sound. That will make it very clear who the offender is and make it easier for gate agents to take action and have that passenger rejoin the line when their group is called. And this has certainly been pretty interesting to watch at a variety of airports, but I think the sound effect is the best way to handle this to make it as effective and efficient as possible. This system was tried out for a month at Albuquerque, Ronald Reagan National Airport, I can't talk, and Tucson International to iron out the bugs and the insights. American is rolling out this technology to more than 100 spoke airports across its network, which, if you don't know, the spoke airport is the small hub operations that American Airlines utilizes to gain, obviously that's where most of their passengers are going to be. So obviously airports like Tulsa, Albuquerque, Tucson, those are great examples. Greensboro, Richmond, you name it, any airport that, you know, a flight does not originate from, if that makes sense, pretty much. These are the American Airlines boarding groups if you haven't seen them before, and I'll let you read through them if you want a better understanding. Obviously, there's quite a few different groups, and I think American, honestly, I'd like to see them consolidate their boarding process just to make it as effective and fast as possible. United Airlines is down to 6 groups, and I believe Delta has 5, maybe 5 or 6, somewhere in there. But anyway, American certainly has the most groups out of them all, and certainly takes more time to say it out loud and so forth with this system. But obviously several of these are allocated for AA Advantage status, including Platinum Pro, Platinum Gold, and also first class members, and American Airlines Executive Platinum. So I think it's kind of just, you know, stuffing up the status and so forth, but that might just be my verdict on it. And then lastly, while the boarding process will start 5 minutes earlier, the aircraft doors will still be closed 15 minutes before the scheduled departure time. So certainly very interesting to see American Airlines adding this boarding time. If you don't know, all the other airlines for the most part, excluding Southwest, have integrated extra boarding time to their mainline fleet. United Airlines typically uses anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes depending on the mainline aircraft, and Delta I think uses 40 minutes for all their mainline planes. So it certainly goes to show that these airlines have already identified this problem and have added the time. But American Airlines will add these extra minutes, and it's certainly interesting to think about how this will impact their operation. I immediately think of fleet utilization and what it can mean for that, and it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to have to down gauge any frequencies or so forth as a result of this, because the 5 minutes, if it's not built into the actual schedule as it is right now, then it's going to be adjusted and every flight's going to lose 5 minutes or so, which is pretty fascinating to think about. So obviously they could put this 5 minutes just into what they already have and hope the plane continues to arrive on time, or they're going to add an extra 5 minutes to every flight, and that's going to add up really quick. So it will be fascinating to see what happens with that. We'll just have to keep our eye on it, but the fleet utilization aspect is certainly important. So starting in May, you will have extra time to board American Airlines flights, and I certainly think it helps the customer, and this will also help in the sake of connections as well. The 5 minutes there, you know, obviously, while it's, you know, it just depends on what happens with the block time, but hopefully this will speed up the process and it'll be a chain link effect. But you know, it's kind of one of those deals that delays are either going to happen or they're not, and the way to identify that is obviously if you have some sort of delay, then you know it's going to be a chain link effect likely for the rest of the day if it's substantial, and then obviously all the operations affected. So will the 5 minutes actually make that big of a difference? We're going to have to see. It's certainly going to be fascinating. I'm eager to see what happens, and I hope all of you are eager to see it as well. It's going to be pretty fascinating. I'm certainly eager to see what American Airlines will do with all this extra time and what will happen with it all. So let me know what you all think of today's video. Definitely cool to cover a variety of topics here. We'll continue to do so with all these aviation analysis videos, and this is certainly a pretty interesting tidbit here that we were able to cover today. With all that being said, that'll do for today's video. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. My name's CM Aviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust process. Do you love you do. My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.